Michael Saylor, the strategy behind Microstrategy. Have you ever wondered how one man's bold decision turned an ordinary software company into a global Bitcoin giant? Michael Saylor, the man behind Microstrategy, saw something in Bitcoin that no one else did. And he didn't just dabble, he went all in. While most companies were still skeptical about cryptocurrency, Saylor was taking massive risks, betting billions of dollars that Bitcoin was the future of finance. Fast forward a few years, and now, Microstrategy is the world's largest corporate holder of Bitcoin. But what exactly drove Saylor to make this groundbreaking move? And what does it mean for the future of Bitcoin and the tech industry as a whole? Stick around, because we're about to dive into the fascinating story behind Microstrategy's rise, Saylor's game-changing strategy, and how it's shaking up the world of finance. You won't believe some of the risks he took, and the rewards that followed. Curious? Let's break it down. Introduction to Michael Saylor and Microstrategy. Michael Saylor isn't your average tech executive. He's a visionary, a risk taker, and, some might say, a little obsessed with Bitcoin, but we'll get to that. First, let's talk about how he became the brain behind Microstrategy. Born in 1965, Saylor co-founded Microstrategy in 1989. Back then, it wasn't about crypto or digital gold. It was all about business intelligence, helping big corporations make sense of their data to make smarter decisions. Microstrategy was a hit in its own right, pioneering software for data analytics. If you were running a company and wanted to understand sales trends, customer behavior, or what product might be your next big thing, Microstrategy had your back. They helped companies transform data into gold. But here's where things take a turn. In 2020, Saylor had what you might call his Bitcoin epiphany. He realized that cash, yes, the green stuff we all rely on, was slowly losing its value thanks to inflation. Instead of sitting on billions of dollars in cash reserves, he asked, what if we put it all into Bitcoin? Wild, right? And that's exactly what Microstrategy did. Under Saylor's leadership, the company shifted its strategy, investing billions into Bitcoin. He called it digital gold, the perfect hedge against inflation. Today, Microstrategy isn't just a software company, it's also the biggest corporate holder of Bitcoin in the world. Saylor turned his bold idea into reality, sparking debates and inspiring others to rethink what's possible in the business world. The catalyst: why Bitcoin? Imagine you're Michael Saylor, steering a successful software company, Microstrategy. Then, 2020 hits, bringing a global pandemic and economic uncertainty. You notice that holding cash is like watching ice melt. Its value eroding due to inflation. Traditional assets aren't faring much better. So, what's the play? Enter Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a decentralized digital currency, not controlled by any government or entity. It's like digital cash, but with a twist. There's a fixed supply of 21 million coins. This scarcity makes it appealing as a store of value, especially when traditional currencies are losing purchasing power. Saylor dives deep into Bitcoin's potential and has an epiphany. This could be the lifeboat of Microstrategy's treasury. He starts calling Bitcoin digital gold, emphasizing its role as a hedge against inflation. In interviews, he passionately argues that Bitcoin is superior to traditional assets like gold, equity, or real estate because it's digital, available, global, ethical, and useful to millions. Under his guidance, Microstrategy begins converting its cash reserves into Bitcoin, aiming to protect the company's value and align with a long-term vision of financial stability. Saylor's conviction is clear. In a world where cash is losing value, Bitcoin offers a compelling alternative. Microstrategy's Bitcoin investment strategy. Let's talk about Microstrategy's bold Bitcoin investment strategy. In August 2020, they made their first splash by purchasing 21,454 Bitcoins for $250 million. By the end of that year, their holdings had grown to 70,470 Bitcoins. Fast forward to September 2024, and Microstrategy's stash had ballooned to approximately 252,220 Bitcoins, acquired at a total cost of around $9.9 billion. Now, you might wonder, how did they fund these massive purchases? Microstrategy got creative, raising capital through various means. They issued convertible bonds, sold shares, and utilized other financial instruments to amass their Bitcoin treasure. For instance, in 2024, they announced plans to raise $42 billion over 3 years to buy more Bitcoin, with $10 billion slated for 2025, $14 billion for 2026, and $18 billion for 2027. What's truly unique here is how Microstrategy integrated Bitcoin into its corporate treasury strategy. Instead of letting cash reserves sit idle, they converted a significant portion into Bitcoin, viewing it as a hedge against inflation and a store of value. This move was unconventional, as few companies had ventured to such an extent. Their approach has been so aggressive that some analysts liken Microstrategy to a Bitcoin exchange-traded fund, ETF, in disguise. By intertwining their corporate strategy with Bitcoin, Microstrategy has positioned itself as a pioneer, attracting both admiration and scrutiny in the financial world. The outcomes, successes, and challenges. Let's dive into the outcomes of Microstrategy's bold Bitcoin venture, a journey that's been anything but boring. After embracing Bitcoin, the market started seeing Microstrategy's stock in a whole new light. It became a sort of proxy for Bitcoin investments. Whenever Bitcoin's price soared, so did Microstrategy's stock, sometimes at a premium compared to the company's actual Bitcoin holdings. It's like the stock became Bitcoin's roller coaster buddy, exciting for investors, but not for the faint of heart. Now, accounting for Bitcoin on their financial statements has been a mixed bag. Due to accounting rules for digital assets, Microstrategy must report Bitcoin at its lowest price since purchase, even if its value bounces back. Imagine owning a treasure chest, but only being allowed to tell people how much it's worth when the gold prices hit rock bottom. It doesn't reflect the full picture, which can make their financial reports look a little gloomy, even during good times. But let's talk challenges, because no adventure is complete without some hurdles. Microstrategy has faced regulatory scrutiny, with critics arguing that tying so much of their future to Bitcoin is too risky, and they've had to weather Bitcoin's infamous volatility. When prices drop, it's not just the company's balance sheet that feels the sting. Their stock price takes a hit too. Skeptics question whether this strategy is sustainable, labeling it as overly aggressive. Still, despite these risks, Microstrategy's move has sparked conversations around the world. Love it or hate it, they've cemented their reputation as pioneers, showing what's possible when a company dares to think differently. Future vision and Saylor's legacy. Looking ahead, Michael Saylor has some big plans for Microstrategy. His vision is to transform the company into a leader in Bitcoin-backed financial services. Imagine this: Bitcoin bonds, lending instruments backed by Bitcoin. Basically, a new way of doing business with crypto at the core. Saylor believes Bitcoin isn't just a store of value, it's the future of finance, and he wants Microstrategy to lead the charge in shaping that future. But Saylor's influence doesn't stop at the corporate level. He's also made it a mission to educate the world about Bitcoin through interviews, public speaking, and even launching the Saylor Academy. He's spreading knowledge and making sure people understand why Bitcoin is more than just a passing trend. His passion for Bitcoin education is contagious, and it's creating a ripple effect across the business world. Now, when it comes to the potential industry impact, Microstrategy's bold moves might just spark a wave of change. As other companies watch Saylor's strategy play out, they may start to think about Bitcoin differently. It could inspire other businesses to adopt Bitcoin in their balance sheets, or even create Bitcoin-related financial products. In a world where crypto is still finding its footing, Saylor's actions are pushing the envelope on what's possible. At the end of the day, Michael Saylor's legacy is clear. He's not just the guy who made Microstrategy a Bitcoin powerhouse. He is one of the key figures in pushing Bitcoin into the mainstream. His belief in Bitcoin's long-term potential has helped accelerate its adoption and reshaped how people view the digital currency. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more updates. See you in the next one.